Can this ever happen to us?
Well, most likely aliens won't come to Earth to turn our planet into their planet, but we are the ones doing that.
Over the past few decades, the occurrence of these extreme weather phenomena have been increasing. Storms are growing much more intense than before at an increasing rate.
Before going in depth about climate change, we'd like to define a few terms and especially disambiguate the word climate.
Climate is defined as the average fluctuation in meteorological variables, such as in precipitation, humidity, and amount of temperature over a long period of time.
As you know, we live in the troposphere, which is approximately the first 10 kilometers of the atmosphere. All weather occurs here, and climate change is its most significant. This is why any changes in weather patterns would directly affect us.
The causes of climate change can be roughly divided into two categories: internal and external. Internal factors are those that affect the climate from directly within the Earth, and these mainly include ocean currents and life. External factors are those that affect the climate from outside the Earth. Examples of these include solar output, volcanism, and plate tectonics.
A major climate event that occurred around this time was the faint sun paradox. The early sun was only 70% as bright as today, but the Earth remained warm enough for the formation of life around 3.5 billion years ago. The most likely cause of this event was volcanism and plate tectonics. These released large amounts of gases like carbon dioxide and methane into the atmosphere, which acted as a greenhouse that kept the Earth warm in the faint sun period and allowed for the formation of life. Ever since, conditions vary between that of an icehouse Earth and a greenhouse Earth. An icehouse period is when greenhouse gases become less abundant, resulting in an overall cooler global climate. This is when the formation of continental ice sheets is possible. Greenhouse Earth, however, is the exact opposite. It is when there is an increase in carbon dioxide that raises global temperature. No continental ice sheets are present during a greenhouse period. Earth has been in this state for approximately 80% of its climate history.
Snowball Earth. It is a time when the entire surface of Earth was covered by glaciers. This is amongst the strangest climate phenomena to ever occur on Earth, and it has happened more than once. Although not 100% confirmed, this hypothesis was derived when glacial deposits were found on parts of the world that were over the equator when glaciation happened. There are several possible triggers for such an event. The first is continental distribution. Continents are more reflective than the ocean and therefore absorb less heat from the sun. This could in turn trigger the formation of ice sheets, which may be a start of a snowball period. Another possible trigger is change in ocean currents, which may be affected by continental distribution. If the continents were distributed in such a way that warm water is distributed to polar regions, large ice sheets can be formed. The third possible trigger is fluctuations in orbit and tilt axis. Both orbit shape and angle of tilt of the Earth's rotational axis may affect the amount and intensity of solar radiation hitting Earth.
So how did the Earth get out of it? Volcanism again may be the most likely cause. Greenhouse gases from volcanoes prevented radiation from being reflected back out to space and therefore warming up the Earth.
When will the next event like this happen? Well, actually, we're in one right now. This is the Quaternary Ice Age.
During the last glacial period, ice sheets up to 4 kilometers thick covered most of North America, Europe, and Siberia. Now only about 10% of the original ice sheets still exist due to temporary warming. As of now, the most likely cause is plate tectonics. About 4 million years ago, the North and South American plates collided, forming the Isthmus of Panama. This caused the Gulf Stream to flow northward, increasing precipitation and ice coverage. The ice then reflected the sun's energy back to space, which further drove the cooling.
Wait, so if the Earth is in an ice age, why is it warming up?
An interglacial period due to high levels of carbon dioxide. The increase in carbon dioxide levels have been driven by humans. This type of climate change is called anthropogenic climate change.
We are releasing carbon dioxide into the atmosphere through the usage of fossil fuels. These add up to hundreds of times that of volcanic activity, which has been a major cause of climate change in Earth's history. In fact, we are currently releasing nearly 40 billion metric tons of carbon dioxide every year. Global temperatures rose up about 0.4 degrees over the last century, and in fact we are likely to cause global temperatures to rise up by 6.4 degrees over the next 100 years.
This significant increase in temperature can cause disastrous effects on us. These include rising temperatures, of course, which may cause many heat-related diseases and illness. The 5 hottest years in recorded history occurred after 1997. Rising sea level as a consequence of rising temperatures. Ice from poles are melting. In addition, water itself expands upon heating, and especially at the scale of the oceans, this would mean a huge increase in volume. Together, seas may rise by as much as 2 feet over the next century. This means that nearly 100 million people will be affected, including every city in the eastern United States.
More intense storms. As you know, the oceans are major storages of energy. Increasing temperatures will cause more of that energy to be transferred into the air, which then will cause intense hurricanes and tornadoes.
Finally, it affects wildlife. It can start off by wiping out habitats such as the coral reefs as well as some animals that are prone to heat. Furthermore, it can drive wildlife and plants to migrate to polar regions, where many species will become extinct. Some experts predict that up to 1/4 of Earth's species will become extinct if temperatures continue to rise at its current rate by 2050.
In conclusion, climate change is something that is everywhere and affects everything. It has always been changing and will continue to do so.
Humans are in a way battling against nature for control of the climate. However, there can only be one winner. It's not going to be us.